This is That One Audition with Alyshia Ochse.
I'm so delighted to talk to you, really, truly. I know we're going to get to Adolescence, but I have to ask because you are very ambiguous on the intranets, which is fantastic. There's not much of a bio. There's not much other than your work. So I wanted to ask, even before I got started, are you a parent? Are you a mother?
No, I'm not a mother. No,
Really?
I never felt like I wanted to have my own children, but I've got a lot of surrogates, nephews, nieces, friends, kids. But yeah,
Owen now from Adolescence, like your work is absolutely riveting. And the reason why I wanted to ask that is for other actors to know when we play outside of ourselves or we play outside of our own circumstances. You've been working for 30 plus years. You've been riding a bike. Your instrument is so available. What a breath of fresh air to watch.
Oh, thank you so much.
It rocked me. It rocked me. And we're going to talk even about the shooting of it. But I want to go all the way back to little girl. You were discovered just doing a play and somebody was like, hey, come to Australia and do more?
Yeah. I was in a school play when I was 14, and a lady was opening a stage school in Liverpool. So we're going back 34 years ago. I was 14. And so I really enjoyed this school play, and I was playing an American TV star in it, but you obviously didn't have a dialect coach, so I was just making it up as I went along. It was a fun school play. But the lady who, Colette Fenlon Byatt, who was opening this new stage school, she came to our school and lots of other schools, touting for business, wanting to meet mums, bring kids into our new stage school. So then I went to this stage school called the Chiltern Stage School, and it was £1 a week. And we'd go over Wednesday evening and we'd improvise. Like, I remember the first time I went there and we all had to pretend to be an animal, and I picked a monkey. And I just really enjoy it. Well, lends itself, doesn't it? So I just remember running around and enjoying playing this monkey. And so I'd attend that every week. Some weeks I wouldn't. And I'd been there for a couple of months. And casting agents came over from Australia looking for 2 kids to star in a drama called The Leaving of Liverpool, which was quite a heavy drama. And it was based on true fact about, in the 1950s, the British government wanted to colonise, is that how you say it? Colonise, what was theirs. And they shipped out kids to Australia, Rhodesia and New Zealand. And it was the story of what happened to these orphans. And I got it. I got the role with Kevin. So it was about a boy and a girl. And I got it. They came to our drama group and we had to improvise. And yeah.
My mouth is dropping open because at that point, are you thinking, oh, I want to do this when I grow up? Are you just in a school play like most kids are? We're just going to see what
I was
happens?
in a school play. I was at a drama group, which was mostly improvisation. I'd never seen a script before. I didn't see lines until I got to the recall of The Leaving of Liverpool. And I went out to Australia with Kevin Hudson, who wasn't even at the drama group. He came to bring his little sister to play me younger. And they said, do you want to audition too? And we went to Australia and we shot in Liverpool and shot my first drama.
And then you don't really stop working.
It's been, when I came back from Australia, I didn't go back I went back to the drama group, but it was a different teacher. And then I just stopped going. And then what happened is, when I was 17, I didn't do anything then, and no acting work. But when I was 17, a director, the brilliant Antonia Bird, who's now passed away, the beautiful Antonia Bird, had seen me in The Leaving of Liverpool, and she was about to cast a film called Priest, written by the brilliant Jimmy McGovern. Mm-hmm. And she got me in for an audition, and I got Priest. And that's what opened the door to a London agent.
And then it's just off to the races. So I want to ask a difficult question. When you're growing up and it's okay, you're playing teenage roles, especially being thrown into this business, essentially, like you're being paid to learn. You're a professional. So it's a totally different skill set than going to conservatory and being a monkey for 3 years and like really cultivating the craft and just.
That's it. I didn't end up, I was going to go to drama school. I was going to apply to drama schools when I turned 18, but then working, Antonia then employed me. In between all this, I went back out to Australia and shot another series out there with the same writers and producers. And then Priest came out. And then Antonia gave me the opportunity of playing my first accent. So I was about to go to drama school. And then Antonia was like, Antonia Bird, did you like school, Christine? I said, no, not particularly. She went, well, if you work on your accents so you can play different characters, try and hone that in. And then I worked with the late Joan Washington, a brilliant dialect coach. But Antonia opened a door for me in a sense of going, she just rang me and said, I'd like you to play Ray Winston's daughter in this film that I'm directing called Face, and it's a London accent. And we've got a brilliant voice coach, Joan Washington. So that, and also I said I was thinking about going to drama school. She said, Chris, if you didn't like school, maybe learn on the job, concentrate on your voices. And that opened another door for me then.
So it's open.
I was very lucky.
Look, I've been doing this show for 15 years, like I just told you off mic. I've probably interviewed 700, 800 actors. It's so interesting to see everybody's way in. Sometimes it falls, like bricks just falling out of the sky and your path just gets laid. Yeah. It's really interesting when it happens that way to see if there's ever a moment of slow down. Like a lot of other actors, their career have to ramp up, right? You've got 10 years, 20 years in, and then all of a sudden something clicks and the road starts really taking shape.
Yeah. You get that one opportunity where this is the one. Yeah.
Yeah, but you've got like 20 years of experience of little things along the way before you get this. When you start with everything handed to you, not that you weren't a talent to have, like you're exceptional talent. Is there ever a moment where you falter or start to doubt? Because when I look at IMDb, for me, it's, oh, she's worked. Okay, she just never stopped working it doesn't appear from that lane. Is there ever a moment going from the teens into the 20s, into the 30s, into the 40s, where you're like, oh, I have to relearn myself or a new category, or how am I shifting? Or actually, I want to pivot away from certain things. Was there ever that moment in your career?
There's been a few. I mean, yes. Definitely. I was riding the wave of working, really lucky going from one good project to another, playing different characters, different accents. But I didn't feel like I had these stripes until I played Ava Braun. I think I was about 25 then, and I was playing Hitler's wife, and I was out in Lithuania, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm here and doing this. It really hit me. Oh, now I feel like I'm an actress. Now
10 years in.
That was like over 10 years in. But then what happened was, then I played a few leads in series, and I got to a place where I was like trying to keep that standard of work up, and then I just weren't working.
Yes, and at that point, what do you do? Do you go back? And I was talking to an actor yesterday, and they're like, they were like, I just got stale. So I had to try something new to reinvigorate, one, my inspiration, but two, a different approach, because I'd already done 20 years of a technique or 20 years of a character that felt like it was. So for me to shift, I had to do something different. Was there something different that you did technique-wise, craft-wise, even human being-wise, that allowed you to work through that shift?
I think, I wouldn't say technique-wise. I think for me, what I've always had great trust in, and this is where the biggest lesson came to me that I learned, is that I'd always had such trust in the people that I was working with, because I do believe that who you're working with can help elevate you. The material that you're working with. What I did learn is that I went on a path where I was wanting to try and just do good work and characters that I really felt passionate about. But within that, sometimes you don't get chose. So then I weren't working. And so what I had to do is go, hang on a minute, I am an actor. I am actually an actor, and I'm not working. So I should reassess in me, how do I feel when I'm not working, trying to hold out for good stuff and struggling on so many levels, emotionally, financially, mentally. I'm an actor. So in a way, I need to work, and it's about maybe doing other stuff that I feel I'm not passionate about. Why aren't I passionate about that? Because it all lends itself to the same thing. It all lends itself to the process. And that taught me a lot of like how I apply myself to each role is the same no matter what the project is. I think I learned, that lesson definitely towards me late 20s.
Yes. Because I had somebody write in the other day and they were like, can you please ask people that feel like they're working all the time? What did they, exactly what you just said, when it's, okay, I'm an actor. I have this body of work behind me, but I'm not working right now. So what do I do? And so much of our acting is waiting for the call, waiting for somebody to see something, waiting for somebody to remember you for something, having that great audition, being passed along, but we're
getting given the opportunity.
Yeah, given the opportunity.
And I think there's a massive snobbery. I think there's a massive snobbery if you're like in a really gritty drama and then you go and do some time on a soap or some time on a bit of more of a commercial drama. And then because you've done that, you won't get seen for this serious drama now. I mean, I've felt that and had that. And there's been plenty of times where I've sat there going, will I ever work again?
And what do you mentally do? Christine, what do you mentally do in that time? Because you now know that cycle repeats itself, right? Like I'm 22 years in, so I'm a little behind on you, but I have moments where I'm like, I don't know. Now I've shifted into, I'm curious. I'm curious what's going to be next. It might be 2 months, it might be 2 years, but I just got that in the last 3 years. And I feel like a lot of other actors, it's hard to tell actors what to do in that time. And right now people are having the industry is shifting so much. So I think that's why people are writing in so much, being like, what are you doing? How do I do this? So
what you do.
Yes.
I think even though it can be sometimes be really hard on your own self-esteem, your financial health, your confidence, I know because it's been that for me as well, on and off. Life, I'm thinking I'm doing life and that will lend itself to the work.
Yes.
So we're trying to stay present and take it day by day and just live life and not make that completely defines me, whether I'm on a set or not, or whether I'm playing a character or whether I'm getting employed. Just be. And I think I'm still learning that, but I started working on myself on that level of going, just let it be and just live life. Because when the work comes, that benefits that without a doubt.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so I have to now ask, look, this is called That One Audition. So I want to hear any audition story you want to tell, but I also really want to hear how Adolescence floats into your inbox. Did you have to audition? Okay. So then tell me the audition story that allowed you to not have to audition for Adolescence. Like, there's either a project or there's somebody that you've worked with before. Had you worked with Stephen before?
I've known this lends itself without a doubt. I've known Stephen since we were kids.
How did you guys meet? I was trying to find anywhere. I was like, they had to either work together. Your work together is so historical. And that's why I wanted to ask process. So where did you guys cross over?
So we grew up, me and Stephen, when we were younger, on a council estate in a place called Kirby in Liverpool. And that's the borough of Knowsley. And Stephen's mum and my mum were best friends when we were growing up. So we've known each other since we were little. And then obviously mum moves away, life, but we've always come back around as friends over the years. And I'm really good friends with Stephen's beautiful wife, Hannah, who's also an amazing actress. And she's also an exec producer on Adolescence. And Phil Barantini, I met him, our brilliant director. I met Phil when he was 17. So I knew Phil, but me and Stephen have been mates since we were kids. I hadn't worked one-on-one with Stephen before, but I dipped in a bit to a drama that he was leading, but we didn't get to act together, dance together face to face. We were in similar scenes, but we had no dialogue. But this is the first time we've ever worked together properly in scenes and stuff.
So walk me through, does Stephen just call you up and how does he pitch Adolescence to you? What's his pitch to you?
Yeah, he'd mentioned it to me, the idea, that he had this idea a while ago. And then it came at a time where I hadn't had a great year the year before that, work-wise, my acting soul. as dramatic as it sounds, was on the floor.
Yes.
Stephen weren't aware of that. I was just feeling really disillusioned sometimes, as you do. And Stephen rang me and said, I'm going to send you some scripts. I'd love you to play my wife in Adolescence. It's a 4-parter. Phil's directing it. I'm going to send you the scripts and let me know what you think and tell me a bit about the story. And I was like, I'll do it. Yeah, yes. I was like, yes, bro, yes, bro. And he went, read it. And then I read it and I was blown away. And I think I skipped and cried down the street for a good week. And then I spoke to Phil and I spoke to Hannah as well. But for that to be an offer, was just, I felt so honoured and so excited.
Okay. Now, how do you prepare? Does Stephen tell you as soon as you guys are a go that they're going to shoot this as a oneer?
Yeah.
That was part of the conception from the get-go, yes?
Yeah, he said we're going to shoot it in one take. I was so excited, terrified.
Oh my gosh.
So excited.
I want to catch the audience up on if they haven't seen some of the facts that are out there or some of the things that I've found floating around on the internet. So for actors that know, so episode 1, I love that so is this how you guys were shooting? You were shooting 1 take in the morning and 1 take in the evening for 5 days straight?
Yeah, sometimes we were wrapping at 4:30 in the afternoon. So it was just, the crew were just amazing. The synchronicity between cast and crew, that's what gave Adolescence its power as well, and its truth and its magic. The crew were just phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
So, but we shoot in the morning, we come into work, we get on set for about 10 sometimes. So no 5 a.m. pickups. And so we'd shoot 1 take in the morning and then we'd have lunch and then we'd shoot the next take. So we'd shoot 2 takes a day.
Okay, let's talk process, if you'll let me get in there and get gritty with you. And I want to, so episode 1, you guys, they ended up taking take 2, which was the first day of 5 days. So that's the take that we're seeing. Walk me through, especially episode 1. It comes in guns blazing, really comes in hot. I want to know your preparation because for the camera to find you, it's probably 7 minutes in, 7, maybe even longer. So once they get into the house, how are you keeping your psychological stamina, your angst at a high level that as the camera's coming back, it meets the whole family? You get each family member in this really high stakes situation when they're coming in to get Jamie. And I don't think that gives anything away of what happens in the series. It just sets it all up. So I'm so curious how you are prepping to do take 1. And then if you guys have lunch, what are the notes? How are they okay, is it more technical or is it more?
I think it was a mix of both. Phil is just an amazing director and such a beautiful person. To be fair, I didn't feel like we got a lot of notes. There'd be little things, whether that be technical or what about this? What do you think about this? It was very much a collaboration as well. And I think because we've got the amazing Jack Thorne who's co-wrote it and we've got Stephen who co-wrote it, and then you've got a director like Phil Barantini, who's just wonderful. And then Matt, our DOP, along with Lee, great camera team. It's all about it's almost like doing a dance and working together. And also, because we're shooting it in 1 take, as you know, there's a flow to it. There is a flow to it. But I think because of the way it's shot, you're in.
You gotta be present. You gotta land the plane. Yeah. You miss your mark. You bump into the cameraman. The whole thing's down, and we gotta do it again.
Before we were about to shoot each episode, I'd be like, okay, and your heart's beating. You're like, okay. And me and Sia look at each other and go, okay, let's do this. And then you hear action, and you're off. But I remember because obviously they come through in episodes 1.
They come through the door.
So obviously Stephen's upstairs, the kids are upstairs, Owen and Emily. I'm downstairs and I hear the van pull up and I'm like, here we go. And then as soon as they come through that door, you're in it.
Yes.
You're in it.
Just to have the camera pull out of the house. And that's the first time we really see you. And that to me was just, the dance was so beautiful. And you have to be so queued up. How much time did you have for preparation, Christine, just for even before shooting?
Before shooting, it was a good few weeks. But because obviously I've reread the scripts, but it's that thing of going, let's get in, because things could change. And also because I was aware of the process of the rehearsal. So the first week, it's just the biggest gift I've found to work this way is the first week where on the floor with the script and the director and the cast. So we rehearsed the first week with the script and on the sets. And we can tweak things, and we've got Steve there, the writer, we've got Jack. Wouldn't you say that? What would you say, especially for the younger ones as well, for Emily and Owen? So the first week is script work, then the second week the camera goes up and we rehearse with camera for that week. So it's quite meticulous, the moves, but there's still a freedom within that. All of that prep, we're ready to go. And then the end of the second week, we do Thursday and Friday tech runs. So we get the costume on, so then we're ready to hit the ground running Monday. It's just a brilliant way to work.
It's theater with a camera. How wonderful. Yeah. Okay. I ask every guest this, and since you didn't audition for this, I would love whatever you're willing to share, because I know every character is different, every project's different, how we get into the work. And what we were talking about at the beginning, what did you do to give her so much weight and so much history? Obviously, you had to have this history with Stephen, but you're working with Owen, who's a brand new actor. I cannot believe this is his first project. I've never seen anything like it.
I have not. He's extraordinary. And it's Amelie's first project as well.
It's hers as well? Wow. Okay, so you're throwing kids and animals into anything already has its like restrictions.
When I go, oh God, there's a baby.
Right? Developing your history with your son, developing your history with your daughter, your family as a whole, even who this woman is. But what is other than reading the script, and yes, you're going to go and do that, what is your what is your process for getting into her?
I think the scripts are so well written.
Yeah.
So well written. And especially the female characters within the scripts as well. Strong women.
That episode 3 was unbelievable. That two-hander, yes, he wrote. Yeah, absolutely. So you're just mining the script, everything you're pulling from just in the script.
Beforehand, I always like to do a backstory on any character. So I'll do a backstory, even though it's within the script anyway, that we've been together since we were young. And mine and Stephen's relationship, without a doubt, lent itself to Eddie and Manda, because we've known each other since we were young. So we have a secondhand dialogue and we feel safe with each other. There's a safety there and there's a trust there. But there's backstory within the pages. But then I always like to do my own backstory to do it. And Manda reminded me, my older sister, who's 2 years older than me, she reminded me a lot of my sister Jane, who's a mum of 2 kids.
Yeah.
So that was used as well, because she did remind me of Jane and in her nature, in Manda's nature. She's she is a good mum, as she, but that she questions herself on that, and rightfully so. But I think, I tend to draw from life as well, or it's that thing as well. If you see someone, if you're putting a character together in your mind and you see like a lady with a pair of shoes, and I think, oh my God, they're her shoes. That's what she'd wear. Oh my God, that's interesting. That's her walk, or all of those things that we take from other people. But for me personally, with Adolescence, it felt close to home on so many levels anyway. But without a doubt, the backstory, and then she did remind me of my older sister, yeah, she did.
Because I wanted to comment on one of the episodes. I don't want to give away which episode, but you and Stephen have this beautiful conversation about being parents. And that episode, it was take 16, if my research is correct. So day 5 of 5. So last day, probably either the morning or the evening, last take, probably. I would love to know your preparation or even your stamina for staying in it. 16 takes of you doing that again and again. I've watched it 3 times. It rocked me. Oh God, it's beautiful work. And for the camera, do you know when it's going to find you? You guys are just playing it like a theater, basically a theater piece.
Yeah, the process before the camera goes up is it's a tight, we get it tight as a rehearsal, but when you're working with such a brilliant crew and camera team and brilliant actors, Stephen is just phenomenal. And as an actor, when you're working with someone, to me, he's a master of his craft, but he's so generous with that. It helps raise you higher because he's there. The same with Owen and Amelie, Ashley Walters, the whole cast were just all truly in it. And that allows it to be more natural. We did 16 because we had a few stop starts. I think like a cut weren't there. I think a door was shut when the camera's coming in at the opening episodes of 4. And then I think we just went, I think it was on the Friday, we went, should we just have a go? So then we shot 2, I think, on that Friday. And then there was a couple of stop starts. But I think working that way to do with stamina, because it's such a joy. And as you know, when you love your job and when you're allowed that freedom, and even if you did move somewhere that maybe you weren't, the camera just, it'd go with you. It was just so freeing. But you know that feeling you get when you're in something, like when you're in a scene and you're shooting a take, and then it's over and you go, what? You can't really remember it because you're so in it. It was a heartbreaking, joyous way to shoot. I loved it. I loved every minute of being on that set.
And I think I'm going to ask like an actory technical question where, how do you not seek to repeat on something like this where you all have to repeat because there's so much technicality with the camera, but you've been working long enough to know you want to give on television and film, we want to give variation, right? So the editors know what to edit, or they can cut over here, they can cut over here. We're not cutting. So Are you seeking to repeat for all 16 takes? Are you trying to find something new to discover so you can keep that emotion bubbling and right at the surface so it feels authentic every single take?
Honestly, we get little notes, so they'd be thought about before going into the take. But for me, no take was the same. So it's trusting within that we're not, even though it's the same lines, or maybe sometimes lines are changing. That was the beauty of it. We could improvise around that. We could, you know, but my process or preparation before the take, along with I didn't get a lot of notes. I didn't. Phil let you breathe, but he gave any notes Phil Valentini gives you will matter and will be discussed and try it. Just try it. That's so beautiful because then that allows you freedom as well. But any note that Phil ever gave me personally, and they weren't a lot, they were beautiful notes. They were brilliant notes. But it's just trusting in the process of that and staying in the moment. But not one take, I don't felt the same. There was one take me and Steve did, episode 4, and we get to the end when we're in the bedroom. And I remember we cut. And Phil said, oh, God, that was different. I was thinking of these going to end up getting divorced. He was like, the way you were looking at him in the car, the way you said this. So it did change each time, even though in ways, sometimes only in subtle ways, each take we did, I feel, of my experience on episode 4.
Yes. Okay. So then watching everything back, Christine, you're there. I've been on set before and I'm like, that's the take. That's the take they're going to use for sure. And then you watch it and you're like, what? There's a more interesting choice in the bag over there if you want to use it, but it's their vision. Were you surprised seeing the whole series come together? Which takes were taken out of the oneers?
I had a feeling, because we spoke about it as well. We knew that with episode 1, from Ian, Phil and Hannah and the cast talk. And it was like, I think we've already got it, but we keep going because anything can happen. We're episode 4. We knew we had one. That was, yeah. And then the last one, it ended up being, but I did have a feeling about the other take that we thought might be a front runner. And the last one, if I'm honest, I did have a feeling. But then there was, episode 1, 2 was like, this is really good. But then there was a couple of other ones as well where I was thinking you sort of feel it, don't you? But then sometimes, as you say, it can be like, when you watch playback, like when we do scenes, it can be like, oh God, no.
You're like, I felt that, but it's not translating. Okay.
Yeah, and I've done that quite a bit over the years where I've thought, God, that felt really good. And then it's no, actually, or like a director said to me, no, but there was this, there was that. And I went, oh, and that's all the learning curve as well, isn't it?
It truly is. It's completely out of our control at that point. That's why sometimes I think the editor is your favorite person on set.
Yes.
The DP and the editor. Yes, of course, the director and everybody else, but everybody makes those assumptions and goes to those people. Really, totally, at the end of the day, it's the editor that's going to make it happen. And if you can have a conversation with the DP, then you're off to the races. He can focus more on you than the director can at that point. They're doing so many other things. It's nice to lock in with the camera person who's capturing what you're doing. Is this translating? Oh, yeah. Where am I? What's happening?
The camera is your best friend.
Especially on this, it's a whole other character that we're just getting to witness how they were able to move. Even that opening scene I watched over and over again where they got in the car, lifted it off the car, came into the house. It just riveting. It keeps your anxiety exactly where it needs to be. I don't know if you've seen this.
Did you feel that as if you are? Did you feel that it put you in?
Yeah.
To getting carried with us within the story?
I feel like it does so much work for you as an actor. You don't have to.
Yes.
We always say the camera, you want to invite the camera in. This truly is inviting the camera in. It doesn't feel forced, manipulated, manufactured, edited. Obviously, it's not any of these things. So you just feel like you're right there. It feels voyeuristic. Truly.
Yeah, and they can't. I didn't learn this until my early 30s. And a director told me that, what we've done is we've pulled a look that you gave in 3 scenes earlier into this scene. And I was like, no, you can't. We do it all the time. I had no idea that in the edit, and this is me, I think I was mid-30s, where I was like, I didn't know that they could do that. But the director was like, but then it can work, but it can work. But I was like, but it's a completely different scene.
And it works beautifully.
Hit me a bit.
I know. When I think, especially for a film or miniseries, stuff that's really contained, they can move things around in the edit if you give them all that choices. But again, editing Adolescence is a totally different thing. When it's a oneer, you don't get to cut to a prop while somebody's given a monologue because it's not working so well. So we're just going to go to the clock for a few seconds to anticipate this anxiety. No, it was created so beautifully. I want to know your process for recovery. You've been working for so long. You've done a wide range of different projects. Something like Adolescence, it's a heavy topic. Yeah. Specifically, episode 1 and 4 are high intensity, anxiety ridden. But for me, episode 4 cracks open a vulnerability that I think every parent, I'm a parent, like it's making me, so how do you recover when you take on these characters?
It makes me emotional. It's your worst nightmare, isn't it?
It really is.
I'm speaking to family and friends, and I've had people stop me in the street and go and get emotional and go, oh my goodness. And I think what's really so wonderful about Adolescence is it's opening up discussions globally, but it's for parents, especially for aunts, for uncles, to talk to your children, to talk to them. It took me a while to come down. It did take me after we wrap in, you know what it's like, you become like a family and you love your job. I love my job, and Adolescence was a heartbreak and joy, but an absolute joy and an honor to be a part of. And I also felt like I learned so much. But stepping away from that, it did take me a few weeks to just level out, just get emotionally and mentally and let it go as well. Because when you're so invested in something, which was just an absolute honor, when it's that feeling like sometimes there's those jobs when it stops.
Yeah.
And you're not, and you miss it as well.
Yeah. I miss so many of my characters so much. And I think as an actor, there's one skill set to learn to how to the story come through you or have a character burst out of you. It's another part of the process to allow yourself to come back online and release the work that you've just done. Your instrument was so open, so affected, so affecting that we have to take care of ourselves. And not a lot of people, we don't talk about that enough. Maybe a handful of episodes that I have where we got into how people bring themselves back in.
Yeah, because you're given on. I've always said acting's also a form of therapy for me because I'm getting to release, I'm getting to challenge, I'm honing in on a focus. And it's also, in a way, an escapism. And I think when I was younger, I was really quite intense. Like I'd stay in the accent all the time. Even when, it sounds bonkers, but even when I've learned now how I work to do with the job. But I was quite intense, but I was still learning then. And that could be really detrimental as well. I'd really take it with me. I'd rap and I'd go home. Like when I was playing this character who'd been abused when I was 21 and it was a really heavy film. And I'd go home and I'd stay in this character surely. That weren't healthy. And so I've learned, obviously, as I've got older, because you learn about, as you know yourself, how you work. But I think self-care is vital, and just stepping back into talking, seeing friends, going for a walk in the park, going for a swim, reading a book, to pull yourself back into yourself in your world. Because I don't think it is spoke about enough how, because you do give of yourself and your spirit, and people say, oh, these wanky actors. No, fuck off. We give, don't we? And also we're lucky to have that opportunity. But then when it stops, especially when it's something that you're so emotionally and mentally invested in, it took me a couple of weeks, and you got to let it go now. And I missed it.
The TV and film landscape, it's constantly changing, but traditional actor training has largely remained the same.
It's focused on a theater model whose main goal is to help you stretch the expression of your instrument. That's why you can have years of training,
From scene study classes to audition classes,
to even an MFA, and still not be able to book a 2-line co-star.
That's why we created the Bridge for Actors.
A collection of tech, craft, and business online courses to teach you the skills that you need to go from a student of acting
to a working actor.
I just read something this morning. Season 2 is being talked about.
Yes, someone else mentioned that who I was chatting to on an interview, and I hadn't heard that. No one had mentioned it to me.
So maybe it's just the world really wanting this to happen, so they're just going to put it out there. So then Stephen has to figure out what to do with writing a season 2.
I know. What do you know? Yeah,
no pressure.
No pressure. What do you feel there should be a season 2? Because for me, listen, I'm up for anything. But for me, I felt like our story ended at 4. And what was so beautiful is that it left people thinking about what happened afterwards.
Yes. I like being left there. I truly do. I love the element of how you guys told the story. I do love the characters. It'd be nice to revisit them maybe in 10 years post all of this. But how? Why? What? I don't know. Is it a totally different story? Does it follow, like we were talking about True Detective? True Detective being an anthology series, season 1 was so everybody wanted a season 2, and then you get the season 2. It's not as stellar as season 1 was, but then season 5 was great. So is there a world in which you could take on a new story, but then we're on to it as the audience? Yeah. Sometimes I think great television just needs to stay in that box of being really great television.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Also, people would show up to tune in because it's been hitting, it's hit every single news wave. It's been something I think people have been really craving. It's affected so many people. And that's what we hope for, I think, as artists and actors, that you're part of telling a story that is affecting people and changes how they have a conversation around stuff. So kudos on that. Now I'm going to ask, I've talked about this a couple times on the podcast. Part of our jobs as actors, so this is just the business side. Okay, you shot Adolescence. What a joy. Like cake, icing, sprinkles, everything.
Cheers. I'm so grateful. Yeah.
So incredible. Now you have to do the flip side of it. How do you handle doing press? Because that is our jobs too as actors. And even if you don't want to say Adolescence, there's also projects in the past you've had to do press for that you might not have liked. This is a part of our job that nobody really speaks about. And I'd love to ask you on a day when you've already been interviewed at an interview, because a lot of actors don't know this. I talked to somebody yesterday and she was like, I've had 40 interviews today. I'm so excited. 40? Yeah, I'm so excited. I had this show, but I don't know how to talk about it differently in 3 minutes than I have 38 other times. And I was like, this is such great information that we just don't talk about. Because she's like, I don't want to sound ungrateful. I'm like, no, you're not sounding ungrateful. It's another part of our business, is helping advertise the thing you just did. So in your 30 years of doing press, what have you learned that you could bestow upon hundreds of actors listening?
I am a team player, but I have mostly, and I think because especially when I was younger, it made me quite nervous to impress. So if I could avoid doing press, it's not champion the show. If I could avoid doing the least amount of press, respect, that is what I would do, because I was fine. Walking on a set to me was like walking in the living room, but being Christine, it made me very nervous. I wasn't very confident. I'd do press, but I'd always ask for the least amount, especially, of course, if it's an ensemble, because a lot of casts would love doing it, some wouldn't. It'd be fair as well. Yeah, but as I've got older, I haven't done an awful lot of press. But as I've got older, I think I've got more confidence as me, being me. And yeah, because that's always made me nervous if I say the wrong thing or I say something I shouldn't have. And then as I've got older, I've just went, you know what? It's part of it. It's part of the job. But I think I've been quite lucky in a sense that I haven't really done a lot of press. And in some cases, I haven't been asked to as well.
That's a whole other thing. You're number 5 on a call sheet, and then they take 4 people to do all the press. You have to deal with your ego of being included, excluded. I want to do it. I don't. There's a whole other level of responsibility as an actor that an ego gets involved in, doesn't get involved in. Like you said, then you're presenting yourself. You don't have a script.
You don't have a script. But I think it's really important as well that you support the show that you're in, and it helps sell the show. And also that people do want to talk to you about your show. That's an honor as well. So that's the other side of it. Press for Adolescence, I've actually really enjoyed. I was quite nervous at first, if I'm honest, but I've actually really enjoyed it. And I've met some lovely people and had such lovely conversations. And I think because I'm older now as well, I'm a bit more comfortable in my own skin. But what you mentioned there about with ego and stuff, like I've been on certain jobs and I've been invited to an event, or I've been asked to do a bit of press, and someone who's, say, got a same supporting role as me, say, hasn't been asked, and it's really upset them. Or if other cast members aren't asked and others are, and then they think about the pecking order, maybe because they've done more and all of that, I just go,
I know.
It can be really unfair. It can be really unfair. But I'm really proud to be involved in doing press for Adolescence, because I'm so proud of the show. And
it's so good. What is the thing that you either told Owen or Emily, especially if this is their first rodeo, either about acting, the business, or even doing the press right now? Because I'm sure they're looking to you and Stephen as lights of what to do. And so everybody listening too, I think this would be invaluable information, whatever you'd be willing to share. what you bestowed upon these young, brilliant talents.
Oh, they're just both so brilliant. And I've got such a lovely relationship with Owen, and his parents are very supportive, and they want him to enjoy being the age that he is, being a child, and enjoy the job. Amelie, I've got a really beautiful relationship with her mother. We check in all the time. So we all speak. Owen with Stephen and Phil. So they've got that support network there. And what I've said to Amelie is that there's time. You've got time. And to Owen, you've got time. There's so much more to come, which is really exciting. If there's ever a time when you're not enjoying it, it's okay to step out. It's about enjoying it and learning, and you keep learning. But enjoy being young in your life as well, because there is time.
I think that's such an invaluable thing to not only hear from an actor that you're working with that's been working for a long time, but also somebody that started in their teenage years, that got ripped into this.
Yeah, I didn't wake up and go, oh, I'm gonna
do this thing,
be a professional actress. I did know that I wanted to perform. I knew that I wanted to perform and do plays, TV, but the word actress then was like, to me, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a performer, and I'll do dancing and I'll do films. So I had that in me. But when the penny dropped, really, I'd been working for a while, and yet I was an actress. But then it was when I was doing Uncle Adolf, this TV film in Lithuania, when I went, I'm actually an actress, like a real grown-up actress. Like I felt like I'd in a strike when I was doing an RP accent. And I was like, wow. I'd done quite a few jobs by then, but it felt like I'd sort of done my apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Did you feel that? Because when did you feel?
I quote Bill Esper. A lot of people went to build William Esper's conservatory. A lot of people have trained with him. And he always said it takes 10 years to even know if you can make it as an actor, and 20 years to have a career. And and after doing this show for a long time, I always look at people's 10 years markers is always when something explodes. They all of a sudden get an onslaught of opportunities. They get some big project that really pivots them. It's around the 9, 10, 11, something clicks. And I know a lot of younger actors, even myself, when I first started, I was like, 10 years? No. But it was almost to a T, the 10-year marker.
Wow.
When I got True Detective and sitting in a room and they moved the camera, and I said, oh, I wanted to, because they were moving the camera to Matthew McConaughey. And I was like, oh, I wanted to, and they're like, move the camera back. And I was like, no, oh God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean, I was like taking up space. And then after I did that take, and that's the take that they used all the way through. Yeah, Matthew came up to me. He's like, don't ever apologize for doing what you're doing. You're a great actress. Like and that was the moment where I was like, oh, I'm holding space with somebody, and it's just him and I. And we were in a hotel room shooting all day, just him and I, a 3-page scene. And that to me felt like, oh, I'm doing this thing. But then
you can call it, you can say, no, actually, I want one more.
Yeah, it was when I took ownership over what I was creating. That's when I finally had this moment. All the years prior to that, I was in a desperate place of, please pick me, choose me. What do you want? I'll do what you want.
Because everything to do with us is about getting given the opportunity to show yourself. And if you're not getting the auditions, or you're not getting sometimes the freedom on set as well, it is about the opportunity massively, isn't it?
It is, and it's the triangulation of a great script, incredible crew and cast, and a material that allows you to fully show more of yourself than you ever have. And I think I've had 2 of those in 22 years. I would put Adolescence, I'm sure, probably at the top of that with your cast, crew. This material is incredible. And then I think we spend our careers not chasing that, but desiring that again.
True. That's so true. I got great advice when I was younger, and I passed that advice on to like drama students that I speak to as well. And I said it to Emily, and it's about building as well. We need the opportunity. It's all about getting given the opportunity, but it's about building your career, working on your craft. You never stop learning. But we need to be given the opportunity to be able to do that as well. It's tough. This industry can be tough.
It can, but once you hit a point of opportunity, then you don't even know how that's going to spider vein. It goes out. Look at your career. It went from this to this, and then Stephen calling you for this. What a beautiful trust, faith, and just your work continuing to get great work.
I just, honestly, I feel in my journey, and it can be up and down, but I feel like I've been really lucky with the opportunities I've had, and I've got to work on some brilliant scripts with some brilliant directors, brilliant actors, brilliant crew. It's been up and down as well, but it's that feeling for me where I think, oh my goodness, I'm still doing it after all these years. Like I feel so lucky for that. I've got friends. I've got one of my best friends. He hasn't worked for 3 years and he's got an amazing CV and he can't get an acting job, and what that can do to someone's mental and financial health. But the fact that it brought me to Adolescence, I was just, because my acting soul was like, oh no, I need something. And honestly, it was the next day that Stephen rang me.
I have full body chills. I love when opportunity meets the desire. Like I want something else. I need something more. And to me, maybe your best work then shows up right there.
Yeah.
Matt, thank you for letting me get into the mental space of the preparation of this beautiful work, just very deeply affecting work, and you being able to lend your instrument, your history, your relationship with Stephen, and allow us to be the viewers of that. It's inspiring from very much a craft and business side of it, but as an audience member, thank God great television like this is coming back. More character-driven, really solid psychological pieces that make you really think about how we want to raise the next generation. Doesn't matter if you're parents, aunts, uncles, just really taking that care. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Where can everybody, obviously they need to watch Adolescence. Do you have other things coming out that you want to shout out right now?
I don't know. I don't have anything else coming out at the moment, and I don't know what I'm doing next.
Don't you love, you're doing press. It's going to be great. Who's going to call next?
Talking of all things Adolescence, which has been, to me, honest to God, just the whole experience of it is such a gift. So to be talking about it is just, it's lovely. I feel really lucky.
I can't wait to see what you pop in next. Yep.
What have you got next? Do you know what you're doing next?
Yeah, I'm sitting on, I have 5 films that waiting to find their homes right now that I shot last year. And then I did a handful of television that has already come out this year. So just going on the next thing, just waiting for the next thing. Went and did an in-person audition yesterday, which was the first time in ever, which was just exhilarating for a great project. But there's great things being made right now, and we just have to see.
That's exciting.
When you're called again, right? We're all waiting for the call. Waiting for the call.
Yeah, wait for the call.
Are you on any social media? Are you doing any of that?
I have recently joined Instagram.
Great. What's your handle? Where can everybody find you?
It's Chrissy, my name, and then it's Chrissy Marco 77.
Amazing.